Sometimes life writes stories no money can buy. Sometimes the poorest soul carries the richest gift. And sometimes a single dance can heal a broken heart. The city was alive with lights, but the mansion stood in silence. Behind its tall iron gates lived a billionaire who owned almost everything yet felt emptier than the poorest beggar. His name was Alexander Stone, a man of wealth, power, and fear. But all his money could not buy back his daughter's smile. Sophia Stone was just 12 years old when an accident took away her ability to walk. She had been the light of the mansion, running through the halls with laughter that echoed against marble walls. Now she spent her days in a wheelchair, staring out of her window like a prisoner of fate. Doctors came and left, offering promises that faded like smoke. Therapies, surgeries, endless treatments. None could bring her back on her feet. And so the mansion turned into a cage of sorrow, guarded by wealth but starved of joy. Alexander buried himself in business. Every day he signed deals worth millions, yet he could not sign one deal with destiny. He wanted to protect Sophia from pain, but in his attempt to shield her, he had stolen her freedom. She was locked away inside, surrounded by luxury, yet starving. For one thing her father could never buy: happiness. At night when the world slept, Sophia would dream of dancing. She remembered the music she used to play, spinning in her room, her hair flying, her heart free. But now music hurt her. It reminded her of what she had lost. One evening, as the mansion lights glowed against the dark sky, something unusual happened. Sophia heard a sound drifting through her window. It wasn't the humming of machines nor the whispers of servants. It was a rhythm. It was movement. It was the sound of feet against stone. Curious, she rolled her wheelchair closer to the balcony. And there, just outside the gates, under the flickering street lamp, she saw him. A boy, barefoot, poorly dressed, dancing like the world was his stage. His steps were raw yet powerful. He moved with hunger, with hope, with something she hadn't seen in years: freedom. She couldn't take her eyes off him. For the first time in a long time, Sophia smiled. She clapped softly, but the boy didn't hear. He was lost in his rhythm, lost in the music of his own heart. And Sophia whispered to herself, "I wish I could dance like that again." The night was quiet, but his footsteps broke the silence. Each tap against the pavement was like a heartbeat. The boy did not have music. He did not have shoes. He did not even have food. But he had rhythm, and rhythm was the only thing life had not stolen from him. His name was Liam, an orphan from the broken side of the city. His mother had died when he was young, and his father had disappeared into shadows of crime. For years, Liam had survived, on scraps, sometimes begging, sometimes working odd jobs no one else wanted. But when the world turned away from him, he turned to dance. He had no teacher, no stage, no spotlight. The streets became his classroom, the moon his audience, and hunger his cruel coach. Every night he would practice moves he created himself. He spun to forget his empty stomach. He leaped to escape the weight of loneliness. He tapped his feet to drown the sound of pain inside him. People who passed by laughed at him sometimes. Some threw coins, not out of kindness, but to mock him. Others ignored him like he was invisible. But Liam never stopped, because when he danced, he felt alive. That night outside the mansion, Liam had chosen the gate as his stage. He didn't know who lived there. He didn't care. All he knew was that the stone pavement was flat and wide enough to move freely. So he let his body speak. Sophia leaned on her balcony, eyes fixed on him. Every spin he took sent waves of forgotten joy into her chest. Every beat of his feet on the ground echoed in her heart. She felt something stir inside her, something she had buried long ago: hope. For the first time in months, she laughed. It was small, fragile, but it was real. Her nurse, who stood silently beside her, turned in shock. The girl who had refused to smile suddenly had a glow in her eyes, and it was because of a poor boy dancing in the dark. Sophia whispered, "I want to meet him." But she knew her father would never allow it. Alexander Stone saw the outside world as dangerous, especially for his fragile daughter. He would never let her near a street boy. Still, Sophia couldn't stop watching. Night after night, Liam came to dance at the same spot. Night after night, Sophia waited for him. He never knew she was there. He never knew his dance was saving a girl from drowning in sorrow. But destiny is not a silent guest. It was only a matter of time before the billionaire himself noticed. Alexander Stone was a man of routine. He returned to his mansion every night at the same hour. The gates opened, the guards saluted, the car entered, and the world outside was shut away. But this night was different. As the limousine rolled toward the mansion, Alexander noticed movement near the gates. A figure leaping, spinning, dancing on the very pavement that touched his land. At first he thought it was some trespasser or thief. His eyes narrowed, his heart stiffened. "Stop the car!" he ordered the driver. The vehicle slowed. The headlights cut through the night and revealed the boy, barefoot, thin, breathing hard as he danced like his soul was on fire. The guards rushed forward, ready to drag him away, but Alexander raised his hand. Something about the boy's movements held him in place. He was fierce yet graceful, wild yet disciplined. Every step spoke of hunger but also of hope. Liam froze when he realized he was caught. He looked up and saw the tall figure of the billionaire stepping out of the limousine. The man's suit shone under the lights. His face was hard as stone. Liam's heart raced. This was no ordinary rich man. This was power itself standing before him. "Who are you?" Alexander demanded. His voice was sharp, like a blade cutting the air. Liam lowered his head. "I'm just a boy," he whispered. "Why are you here?" the billionaire pressed. Liam's voice trembled. "I dance. It's the only thing I know," the guard scoffed. "A beggar's excuse," one muttered. But Alexander's eyes stayed locked on the boy. There was something in his movements that wouldn't leave his mind, something more than entertainment. Then, from above, a soft voice broke the silence. "Father, don't hurt him." Everyone turned. On the balcony sat Sophia, her wheelchair pushed forward, her eyes glowing with more life than Alexander had seen in months. She looked down at Liam, and for the first time in years, her smile returned. Alexander's heart skipped. His daughter was smiling. Because of this boy. A poor stranger, a street orphan. Someone Alexander would have cast away without a second thought. But here she was, alive in spirit again, because of him. "Go inside, Sophia," Alexander ordered firmly. But she shook her head. "No, please, let him stay." Her words carried a strength he could not ignore. For a moment, the billionaire felt powerless, not against money, not against rivals, but against the fragile voice of his daughter, begging him for something he could not buy. Alexander looked at Liam again. He saw the dirt on his face, the cracks on his feet, the thin frame of a boy who had known hunger more than comfort. Yet, he also saw fire in his eyes, a fire he had not seen in himself for years, and deep down, Alexander knew this was no ordinary meeting. This was fate knocking at his iron gates. The night pressed heavy around the mansion. The guards waited for orders, their hands still gripping the boy's arms. But Sophia's voice echoed again from the balcony. "Please, Father, don't send him away." Alexander felt his chest tighten. His daughter had not spoken with such passion in years. He looked up at her, saw the tears forming in her eyes, and something inside him cracked. "Bring him inside," Alexander finally said. The guards released their grip reluctantly. Liam stood frozen, his heart pounding as the gates of the mansion slowly opened. He had never stepped into a world like this. The golden lights, the marble floors, the towering doors. It felt like walking into another universe. Sophia waited in the grand hall, her wheelchair facing the staircase. When Liam entered, her face lit up like the glow of dawn. She clapped, softly. "You're even better up close," she whispered. Liam's eyes softened. He had never been praised like this before. For years he danced for shadows, for coins tossed at his feet, for nothing but survival. And now a fragile girl in a chair was looking at him as though he were a miracle. Alexander stood between them, his arms folded, his mind battling with pride and doubt. He wanted to protect Sophia, but he could not deny the light she carried tonight. The boy had given her something no doctor, no medicine, no wealth had managed to give. Joy. "Why do you dance?" Alexander finally asked. Liam hesitated. "Because it's the only time I feel alive," he said. His voice shook, but his eyes stayed steady. "When I dance, I forget I'm hungry. I forget I'm alone. I forget I'm nothing." Sophia's hand trembled on her wheelchair. "You're not nothing," she whispered. "Tonight you made me feel alive too." Alexander's breath caught. For years, Sophia had been silent, drowning in sorrow. He had bought her everything: books, toys, screens, music, yet she had rejected it all. But one poor boy with nothing but rhythm had done what he could not. He turned to Sophia. "Why him?" he asked gently. Her eyes filled with tears. "Because he dances the way I dream. Because when I see him, I remember who I used to be. And because he makes me smile again." Silence filled the hall. Even the guards lowered their heads, moved by the fragile honesty of her words. Alexander closed his eyes for a moment. He remembered the night of the accident, the sound of screeching tires, the screams, the guilt that never left him. He had promised he would protect Sophia from every pain, but in doing so, he had stolen her chance to feel life. He opened his eyes and looked at Liam again. This boy was not just a dancer. He was a reminder that life was more than walls and fear. He was the bridge between Sophia and the world she had lost. Alexander's voice softened. "Stay. Teach her to smile again. Maybe even teach her to dance." Liam's mouth fell open. His heart raced. For the first time in his life, he was not being thrown away. For the first time, someone wanted him to stay. And Sophia, she cried, not from pain, not from sorrow, but from a fragile, glowing joy she thought she would never feel again. Days turned into weeks. The mansion that once echoed with silence now carried the sound of music and laughter. Every evening Liam came to dance. And every evening Sophia waited, her eyes shining, her heart beating faster. At first she only watched. Her hands clapped softly in rhythm. Her head moved with the beat. But soon, something inside her wanted more. She wanted to move again. "Teach me," she whispered one night. Liam hesitated. "How can I?" he asked, glancing at her wheelchair. Sophia smiled bravely. "Not with my legs, with what I have left. My hands, my heart, my spirit." So he began. He showed her how to sway with her arms, how to move with her shoulders, how to feel rhythm with her soul even if her feet could not follow. Her laughter filled the halls. Her eyes sparkled brighter than any diamond her father owned. Alexander watched from the doorway, silent but moved. Each smile Sophia gave was a priceless treasure. Each giggle was a victory against despair. And in those moments, Alexander realized he had been wrong all along. He had tried to heal her with wealth, but healing came from love. One evening, as the sunset painted the sky with fire, Sophia called her father to join. "Dance with us, Daddy," she pleaded. He froze. Alexander Stone, the man who commanded empires, was terrified of one simple request. "I can't," he said softly. "Yes, you can," she insisted. "Not with your feet, with your heart." So he stepped forward, awkward at first, clumsy, unsure. But then Liam smiled and guided him, and soon the three of them moved together. Not perfectly, not gracefully, but beautifully. It was not just a dance. It was a family finding its rhythm. Again, from that day, everything changed. Sophia grew stronger, not in her legs, but in her spirit. Her laughter became daily medicine. Her smile became sunlight for the mansion. And Liam, the poor boy from the streets, became part of their lives. Alexander sent him to school, gave him clothes, gave him food. But more than that, he gave him something Liam had never known before: belonging. Liam was no longer invisible. He was no longer a shadow dancing alone in the dark. He was family. And Sophia, she never walked again, but she lived. She danced with her soul, with her laughter, with her courage. And every time Liam danced for her, she whispered, "You gave me back my life." The world outside still judged. People asked why a billionaire would keep a poor boy in his mansion. But Alexander no longer cared, because in that boy, he saw the truth. Life's richest treasures are never bought. They are found in the hearts of those who give without asking. And so the story ended not with wealth, not with pity, but with hope. A billionaire, a broken daughter, and a poor boy who danced his way into their lives. Three souls tied together. By rhythm, by love, by the simple truth that joy can be born in the unlikeliest of places. And whenever Sophia's laughter echoed through the halls, Alexander whispered to himself, "The boy didn't just save her, he saved me too."